Good evening and welcome. Fáilte go G live Irish Myths. Is Misha Anton. Where is that beep coming from? I'm Anthony Murphy. This is Mythical Ireland, and we tonight are on episode number Trecha Hucht, episode 38. Thank you all for joining us. We are live streaming on Facebook, on the Mythical Ireland Facebook page, and also on YouTube, on the Mythical Ireland YouTube channel. Don't forget to say hello. Tell us where you're watching from this evening. I hope that you're all keeping safe and well. But in the meantime, grab a chair or a pew or a stool, sit comfortably, grab yourself a brew or a dram, whatever you're having yourself. Sit down for the next hour or so, relax, get comfortable. Imagine we're all sitting around a roaring fire in a hearth in a lovely whitewashed cottage in Connemara on a beautiful summer's evening in the twilight. And we're going to tell a few stories. I'm delighted that you're all able to join us. And if you, as usual, if you want to, oh, hang on. I need to get my act together here. I do apologize. As usual, if you're new to Live Irish Myths and you want to sample the previous episodes, they're all available together in the one place on the Mythical Ireland website, mythicalireland.com, on the blog. And I will paste in the link to that as a comment beneath this video on Facebook and on YouTube. And so we've had a great time, haven't we? Lovely bunch of people from around the world gathering together for a few stories about old Ireland. And not just Ireland, from the Celtic nations, but mostly from Ireland. Over on YouTube this evening, we have William King saying hello and good evening from Arkansas. Good evening, William. Tá fáilte rud. And the Lucky Leprechaun is saying hello again from Newfoundland. Geology, lovely to have you in the house. Fáilte go G Chach Warku. Hello from up north again, says Julianne, the greedy vegan. Lovely to catch another live. Love these. Thank you. Stay safe, everyone. Love from the Emerald Isle. Thank you for that, Julianne. And you express my sentiments very well. Kirsten says hello from sunny British Columbia. We had a cloudy day today, but look, we've had a lot of good weather, so we can't complain. Martin O'Brien, Mayo Marty here again, living in Pickering, Ontario. You're very welcome. Fáilte. Jack Durkin on Facebook says hi, everyone. Jack. Carol Barrett says, oh, I apologize. Carol Barrett says hi all from Galway. And Carol, Fáilte, good on Galway. Doris O'Hara says, good evening, everyone. Hi, Doris. Jack Durkin. Hello from Navan, County Meath. On Ova, Condonami. And we did that in our place names the other day. Barbara Barney says, hi, Anthony. Hello, Barbara. Michael Naylor, I presume, and Jeanette are both watching, or at least Michael is anyway, from Princeton, New Jersey. Look forward to this all day. Oh, brilliant. Aaron Durrett, hi Anthony, and dear Tua MythFlix, lovely your pick of the sunbeam on your library shelf. What's the Irish for book henge? I don't actually know the Irish for henge, but I can tell you the Irish word for book is leabhar, Leabhar. Let me see if I can find. No, Níram Shia Aon Torhi. Henge, that's a good one. Cashel. Cashel doesn't really cover it. Cashel Lower. We'll have to find that one. Katrina may be able to help us with that one. Pat Rowan is watching. Hi, Pat. How are you? Mello Nello says hi. Hello, Mello Nello. And we have something to discuss, don't we? Yes, we do. Can I share that? Can you share that picture? And we'll draw attention. Pat Rowan says his is a pionta Guinness, a pint of Guinness, a pint of the black. Well, that's a fine Irish drink, Pat. Jack Durkin says, stay safe, everyone. Barbara Kling, Giariv, As Vermont. And Giarich, Barbara. Karen Gogus is watching. Hello, Karen. Melanie Lynn says, hello, Anthony and all. Melanie, great to see you. Catherine Long, hello from Amarillo, Texas. Hello, Catherine. Lovely for you to join us. Karen Gogus is saying, hello, friends. Helen Guinan is in the house. Hang on till I just genuflect. Royal wave. Hello, everyone. Hello, Helen. Yvette Tillema. Hi, Tua de Murphy from the beautiful mountain town of Keene, New York, where It's still not spring, but you covered the garlic. There you go. Greetings from the Netherlands. Guido Bruce is in the house. Guido, how are you? And it's great to see you, especially after your recent bereavement. And I'm very, very sorry for all your troubles. It's lovely to see you, and I hope that you're keeping well. Edina Spark says, hello all from New Mexico. Hello, hi, Edina. Giorich. Karen Goga says, my migraine is killing me. I don't know about you, Karen, but we have these tablets in Ireland called Nurofen Plus. I always keep them handy. They have codeine in them. And I find when I have a migraine, they're the only things that will knock it back and deliver it and kill it for 6, knock it for 6. Freya says, checking in from Sweden, Banachty, Anthony and all the MythFlixers. A falcha a Freya. Tom Breslin says, hello from a cold and rainy Carmel, New York. Well, hello, Tom. It was cool and cloudy here today, but Neelaine, Boshti. Neelaine, there wasn't any rain. Marion Dunn says, greetings to all MythFlix. Windy and partly sunny in Virginia. That's all right. Partly sunny. We'll take that. Mandy McCurl says, hello from the sunny Isle of Mull again. Lovely to see you, Mandy. Falcha. Patricia McAteer is watching. Second time in an hour and a half. Patricia, I hope you enjoyed the earlier brief video or live stream from Drogheda. Michael Ray Fox, having a nettle tea. Hello from Rockland, Ontario. Sláinte to Féin, Michael. Greetings from the Netherlands, says Guido. Hello, Guido. Steve Martinson, hello, everyone. May you be safe and well. And you too, Steve. Jack Durkin, hope you feel better soon. Monique Peterson, hi, Anthony. Monique, signing in from rainy San Diego again. Love the subject of the Western Isles, apples, and the Western Sea. Brilliant stuff, Monique. Gillian Gogarty is watching. Gillian, how are you? Mellow, no prob. Yes, and in fact, did I see a message there? I did. I'm trying to multitask. Desiree Riley says, hello from Louisiana. Hello, Desiree. Lovely to have you in the house. Janet Kerrigan. Hi, Anthony. Signing in from a cloudy Long Valley, New Jersey. Cloudy here too today. Looks like we share the weather quite often. Caitlin Moon says, hello from Baltimore. Just finished an Irish lesson. Brilliant stuff. I had my latest Irish lesson today as well, so it's great to see some of you trying to learn Cúpla Focal. Susanna Friel says, good evening from Killybegs. Hello, Susanna. Fáilte. Chris Conway says, Chris from Ohm Art in Southington, Connecticut. Good evening, Chris. Fáilte. Nick Eska Casterton is in the house. Good evening, Anthony. Hi, Nick. Patricia McAteer says, hello from Omeath, Condaloo. Hello, Patricia. Donna Jean Porter says, hi. Giagwich, Donna. Teresa McGuinness, casting Facebook onto my TV. Sunny in Callahan, Florida. Hello, Teresa. Lovely to have you. Nirao ein Vostok aun. Thank you, Katrina, for correcting me. That means there wasn't any rain. Nirao ein Vostok aun. Paul Blockley says, hello all from cloudy South Wales. A lot of us are sharing the cloudy weather. Debbie Storm, interesting surname. No, it's Stom. There's no or there. Debbie Stom says, I so enjoy these videos. Wonderful. Fáilte, Debbie. Henry Paddy Shearman is in the house. Hello, Henry. Fáilte, August Giagwich. Tony Campbell is watching. Good evening, Tony. How is the form with you? Katrina, can you tell us what the Irish for book henge, i.e. the pick Anthony sent us of his library shelf? Interesting challenge for our Gaelgore. Nick says, hi, Anthony, from my son, Alex Casterton. Hello, Alex. Love to have you along as well. Maeve Fina Callahan. Hello from a cloudy Pacific Northwest. We've returned to our normal atmosphere here from the unusually sunny spell. Us too, but I believe we might be getting some sun back again, hopefully. Alan Bryett says, Giagwich, Anthony from Rhode Island. Giagwich, Alan. Barbara King says, relative to yesterday's story, there is a nice chapter about High Brazil in Phantom Islands of the Atlantic, The Legends of Seven Lands That Never Were, by Donald S. Johnson, Walker and Johnson Press, 1994. Thanks for that, Barbara, that information. I'm sure some people will want to follow up on that. Erin Lauerhensche. I never correct. I give opinions. Good on you, Katrina. Lauerhensche, H-E-I-N-S-E. Lauerhensche, Bookhenge. Nice, interesting. So happy to see the rain finally, says Aaron Durrett. The plants are sighing with relief. I'm sure they are. Yeah, wonderful. And on YouTube, Kirsten says, hello from sunny British Columbia. If we didn't say hello already, maybe we did, Kirsten. I apologize if I'm repeating myself, but good evening to you, Fáilte. Martin O'Brien, oh yes, we did indeed. Captain Shamrock says, hi again, Anthony. I'm from the north, by the way, a little place between Guildford and Waringstown called Clare. Ah, very nice. And Fáilte. Heard a shot, says Tom King. Evening, Anthony, and one and all. What a ray of sunshine. Hope you enjoyed your meal last night. We certainly did. You know what we watched? We watched The Post, which is that movie with Meryl Streep and Tom Hanks about the Washington Post at the time of the Nixon presidency. Fascinating stuff. And as a newspaper man, I found it extremely entertaining. Martin O'Brien, what's the price of petrol in Ireland these days? We're about 77 cent. I think it's around €1.10 per litre for diesel and around 1.20 for petrol. But I couldn't tell you, Martin. I've only put diesel in the car once since the first week of March. It's incredible. Antonio Marquez, hey, good to see you, cousin. Giagoich Antonio, very nice to have you here. Denver, Colorado is behaving as if it is home of the Tuatha De Danann. Brilliant. And Susan Bain Williams says, Susan from Illinois, my ancestors are from Clare. Fantastic stuff. Giagoich. Tanya Noble says, hello, all from McChesney Park. You're very welcome, Tanya. Brilliant. We're up to date. And it just falls on me at this point to say thank you to John Cahill of pexels.com. That's PEXELS.com, who provided the watery underwater image for the graphic, for tonight's graphic, for promoting tonight's episode. And just as usual, to say thank you to all the Mythical Ireland patrons for your support. Thanks indeed. It means a lot. If you're interested in becoming a patron of Mythical Ireland and supporting the work that is done here, pop over to patreon.com/Mythical Ireland, and I'll paste that in as a comment on Facebook and on YouTube, where you can have a look at what you can pledge and what rewards you get as a result. There's absolutely no obligation on you to do so, and no matter what happens, we will continue to do live Irish Myths. As long as I'm humanly able to do so, I will continue to do this, and this will be entirely open and public and free and all that. Anyway, thanks a million. Let us begin tonight. I'm reading from a few different sources tonight. We're going to start where we left off, and that is with Traces of the Elder Faiths of Ireland, Volume 1 by W.G. Wood Martin. And then I might read from one of my own books and maybe one or two other little sources, but we'll keep that. We'll keep our powder dry for the moment. Pardon me. Hello and good evening to you all from Italy, says Elisabetta Gavetti. Hello, Elisabetta. Lovely to have you along. Judy McQueen says hello again. Hi, Judy. Kimberly Burke is calling in. Gail Dawson. Gail Dawson, get into the house now before we start. Susan. Oh, yes, sorry. Susan from Illinois already. I think we already said that. Your ancestors are from Clare or Clare. Good evening to you, Susan. And everybody's happy. Federica Guy is in the house. Hi, Anthony. Hi, Tua. Greetings from Torino, Italy. All our very best wishes to you, Federica, and everybody in Italy this evening. Katrina is a beautiful wisdom keeper, and we all appreciate her input. Absolutely well said, Desiree. Fantastic. Couldn't have said it better myself. J. Carlos Ribeiro says, fantastico. Fáilte, Carlos, J. Carlos. Juan, is it Juan Carlos? Anthony, you're amazingly generous. We're blessed, says Aaron. Not at all. Sure, love it, you know. Shamey McCarville says, how ya, Anthony? That's exactly how we'd say it. How ya? Well, I'm fine, Shamey. How are you keeping? Tá go ma. Conas tá tú. Anyway, last night we finished off, we were saying about, weren't we? There are also numerous legends of the overwhelming, what time are we on? 14 minutes. Not of continents and islands alone, but also of particular towns and cities by the sudden rising of the waters. The sites of many lacustrine settlements or villages built in the water, called in Irish crannogs, are often designated by the peasantry drowned islands. Okay, and we're going to move on from there for tonight. Pamela Walters says, Sláinte from the Netherlands. Fáilte, Pamela. I'm afraid the phone is refusing to copy and paste the photo. I think you can get it from your side, Anthony, please. I'll keep trying. Okay, yes, absolutely. There's a lovely sort of lovely yellow coming in the grey clouds there. It looks like the the sun is going down here. Yeah, just have to show you this before we continue. This is a follow-on from last night's episode. I got a message from Mellow Nello. And the message, oh, hang on, I want to download this picture first because I want to paste it in as a comment here. I'm not sure, I don't think I can do that on YouTube, but I can certainly do it on Facebook. Just give me one moment. But I apologize for my prevarication. Others. Okay. So the message that came from Mellow Nello was this. I was thinking on what you said about atmospheric conditions reflecting places far away, and it's quite possible. I live near Monaco on the south coast of France, and I can regularly see an image of Corsica over the sea, even though it's 174 kilometers away. Here's a photo I took of it, and I'm going to paste that in now beneath here as a comment. I can't paste it on Facebook or on YouTube, unfortunately. I don't think it allows me to paste photos. I'm pretty sure it doesn't. Just bear with me 1 second here now till I locate the file on my... No, not that one. Pictures. Yes, that one. That one. There we go. Oh, it's not letting me do it as a... Sorry. No, it's not letting me do it as a... So I'm just going to paste it as an image. Mellow sends this image from near Monaco, South France, Southern France even. Southern France. So that'll be a new post on the Mythical Ireland Facebook page. The image shows Corsica, which is over 174 kilometers distant. Sorry about this, folks. Okay, sorry about that. So I have to pay attention to the time because on YouTube, when the video is uploaded, I'm going to say, right, skip. If you want to skip the comments, skip to 18 minutes. Vicky Wallace-Southall says, hello, my lovely friends. Fáilte, Vicky. Ulla Landers Lukianiuk is in the house. Hello, Ulla. Very nice to see you this evening. Fáilte. Sorry about that. Keep double tapping the screen. Lisa Collins says hello from Minnesota. Jigwich, Lisa. Okay, we're all up to date, I think. Yeah, we were talking about, weren't we? Yes, rowing, the person who rowed all the way from Sligo down to Lough Gill. There are certainly traces of lacustrine settlements still plainly to be observed above water. But as proof of the alleged submergence of the ancient town, the remains of houses and buildings are said to be visible at the bottom of the lake on a sunshiny day. An English tourist asked a Sligo boatman who had rowed him from the town to the lake if he had ever seen the round towers of other days or any buildings of past ages gleaming under the waters. In troth, I have, was the ready answer. And sure, on a still summer's day, won't you see the smoke from the chimneys rising straight up in the air from the surface of the lake? Matt Byrne is in the house, says, evening all. Jigwich, Matthew. Bernie Courtney says hello from Castlebar. Very good evening to you, Bernie. Within the town of Sligo, in the townland of Knocknaganny, is a celebrated well of Tubar Nashelmida, or the Snail's Well. Its name is derived from an enchanted or metamorphosed being supposed to be seen every 7th year, emerging from its waters in the form of a huge snail, and which possesses the power of effecting at some future period which, it is to be hoped, may always remain in futurity, an overflowing of the well and a second submergence of the metropolis of the west of Ireland. And that's very interesting. Because in one of the tellings of the story of the Mata, the great monster that was in the Sea of Morhevna in this area, that, the chief of the deities, the Dagda, defeated it. Well, it is described, I think, in Tuchmark Emre, in the Wooing of Emer, as being or is it Lady Gregory translated as being like a giant sea snail? One of the sources describes it as a giant sea snail, so that's interesting. A curious tradition is connected with a rude stone monument in Mayo. The antiquarian writers called all our prehistoric monuments rude, to the effect that should the giant's grave be ever dug into, the wild mountainside would at once be transformed into a fertile plain, that the gate of a beautiful city, which lies enchanted at the bottom of a little lake close by, could then be opened by a key buried with the warrior in the tomb, and that a great golden treasure would be at the disposal of the discoverer. And again, that's interesting, because that's a little bit like the legend of Garrett's Fort, where Earl Garrett is supposed to be at the head of a sleeping enchanted army, waiting for somebody to come along. The tradition of towns buried beneath the waters is not merely confined to the lakes of Ireland. There is the beautiful fable of the city of gold, hid beneath the angry ocean, sometimes seen, but ever in different localities. And here is either a poem or a song, and I'm not sure which. Ralph Waldron says, "Hi from Athleague, County Roscommon. Fáilte, Ralph. Jigwich." Andrea Lagoya says, "Ciao, ciao, Andrea." Sai B says, "Evening. Trononawa, Sai." Years onward have swept, aye, long ages have rolled, since the billows first slept o'er the city of gold. 'Neath its eddy of white, where the green wave is swelling, in their halls of delight are the fairy tribes dwelling. And but seldom the eye of a mortal can scan, where those palaces high rise unaided by man. Yet at times the waves sever, and then you may view the yellow walls ever 'neath the ocean's deep blue. A similar legend lingers among the peasantry on both banks of the estuary of the River Shannon. They believe that a beautiful city lies buried beneath the waters, the flow of the current being ruffled and disturbed by its sunken towers, spires, and turrets. Once in 7 years, and it's the same with High Brazil, once in 7 years, the glittering pile, they tell us, is to be seen gleaming beneath the translucent wave, but it is considered a sure omen of approaching death to the beholder of the wonderful spectacle. Fantastic. And Rowan Grove says, "Peasantry again, eye roll." Yeah. M. Chantry was induced to explore Lake Paladru in, it looks like Isère, I-S-E accent or E, from hearing the recital of a local tradition that the ruins of an ancient city, destroyed by divine vengeance, were still to be seen at the bottom of the lake. Researches led to the discovery of a lacustrine settlement occupying the spot indicated by the legend. In the Bay of Douarnenez, near the Pointe de Raz on the Brittany coast, the fisherman still believes he sees, under the green waves, the ruined streets and monuments of the Breton Sodom, or the mythical city of Is. Similar legends of submerged towns are prevalent in the south of Scotland, on the littoral facing the Irish coast, while amongst other points of coincidence between Scotch and Irish lake settlements may be noticed a tradition connected with some of them, and common to both countries, which seems to have had its origin in the submergence of the settlements by the continual rising of the water level of the lakes, or the sinking of the littoral. And that's very interesting. Hi, Michael. Michael Murphy is watching. Better late than never. You've only missed a few minutes, Michael. You're all right. Very interesting that there's always the possibility at the back of this that the myths actually remember that time when the land was inundated by the waves. How about the spiral shell fossil found in the limestone of Monaghan and Donore, snail-like? Yes, and I too have seen and in fact photographed one of these. If this is the same thing you're speaking of, Catherine, if I can find it now. Can't Can I find it quickly? Because I do not want to get too distracted. Be in the chapter about Clogherhead if it's anywhere. Okay, give me 1 second. Helen Guinan, you'll be interested in this. This is your territory. Give me 1 second, folks. I'm very sorry for getting... You know the way I go down these rabbit holes and I go off on tangents and I get totally distracted. Well, this is one of those times. Let me just see if I can find this very briefly for you and show you a picture. Yep, there we go. There is a spiral fossil in a rock at Clogherhead, County Louth, pictured by me about 5 or 6 years ago when I was at the beach with the family. My eldest daughter, Amy, spotted it and pointed it out to me. And I said, that's very interesting because this is near where the builders of Newgrange had sourced the stones. And maybe they had seen patterns like this in some of the rocks, fossils. Anyway, sorry about that digression. Drew Dahuath says, hello, Anthony. Alex Castron here. On my Druid account, as my personal one is in 24-hour Facebook jail due to a personal opinion post. Did you say something naughty, Alex? Don't worry. It's good to have you anyway. No problem. Is, pronounced E-E-S-S, also spelled Ker-Is in Breton and, yeah, I can't pronounce that, in French, is a mythical city on the coast of Brittany, but later swallowed by the ocean. I keep trying to see more. It is related to the Irish word Ishal. Most versions of the legend place the city in Bay de Dornanes. Okay, thanks for that information, Katrina. You are a mine of information. Been here all along, my dads, but will soon be out of Facebook jail. Loving the show. Good evening to well, good evening, Alex. Lovely to have you along. And Castle Pentecost over off the coast of Brittany, says Maeve Fiona Callahan. Thanks, Maeve, for that. And I have lost my place. Oh, yeah. Okay, here we go. The same idea is held by the natives of central India, a little bit away from the Celtic nations then, who imagine that the sound of fairy music is heard and panoramic views of buried cities may, from the surrounding hilltops, be seen beneath the waters of their lakes. John Balloch, who had taken up his residence on the river Osella, wrote to Gerard Mercator, the famous cosmographer, on account of the river, on which was, quote, the great lake of Kitay, on the shores of which had been heard sweet harmony of bells, and that stately and large buildings had been seen therein, unquote. Folks, remind me, there is a Paulo Coelho novel. If I remember right, it's a short one, but it begins and ends with someone visiting the shore and hearing bells. Am I imagining that? It's not the Manual of the Warrior of the Light. Is there any Paulo Coelho fans here? Maybe you can help me out. The cluster of artificial islands and shoals in Loch Eyes near Lisbellaw, County Fermanagh, is perhaps one of the most remarkable remains of a large lacustrine settlement to be seen in Ireland. The country people have a tradition that, in ancient times, a road or roads leading from island to island passed through the lake. When the water level is very low, traces of these roads may be discerned, consisting of peaty ridges leading from dwelling to dwelling, probably composed to a great extent of the fallen platforms or gangways. 2 rows of stakes extending along the sides of the ridges, placed about 4 feet asunder, mark the width of the causeways, which were probably supported on piles. Figure 70 is a view of the present appearance presented by Loch Eyes and its islets. Figure 71 is an attempted restoration of the ancient settlement. All right, okay. Attention must be drawn to the quaint boats used by their inhabitants. Figure 72 is a restoration of the huge single-piece canoe now in the Science and Art Museum. By the way, this book is, I believe somebody shared a link to it. It can be read online. Judging by its great size, it was most probably used for purposes of warfare. Originally 48 feet overall, it was capable of carrying a crew of 35 fighting men and propelled by 20 paddles, which would have attained a good head of speed. Figure 72 represents a common incident in ancient times, a raid on and the pillaging and burning of a cluster of lake dwellings, Many of the sites bear signs which denote that the villages had often been demolished, burnt, and rebuilt, the native clinging to his watery home with as much pertinacity as, in latter days, his descendant clings to his cottage on terra firma. In the progress of many centuries, this state of society in Ireland gradually changed. Forests were cleared, pasturage became more ample, wild animals diminished, while sheep even, and oxen increased, and the population became more generally spread over the country. And I have more to do. Sorry, one moment. I should read this bit, or whether I should just... Oh, yeah. It's 2 more paragraphs, and then I'm moving on to Mythical Ireland. Remains of very similar structures have been observed in the waters of the Western Pacific. The most remarkable occur at a place called Metaline, where some 60 artificial islets, bearing a certain resemblance to Irish and British lake dwellings, rise from the waters of a lagoon. This Venice of the Carolines covers an area of about 9 square miles. The few natives frequenting the locality give the islets a wide berth, as they believe them to be haunted. They also recount a tradition that there was here formerly a great city, but one day a large fleet of canoes, filled with a horde of fierce barbarians, attacked the place, captured the city, and slaughtered or sacrificed its defenders. The gradual development of what is now the Kingdom of Holland can be traced back to a race of wretched fish-eaters who dwelt upon mounds which they raised like beavers above the almost fluid soil. Venice, the once proud queen of the Adriatic, with her marble palaces rising vision-like from her watery bed, was, in origin, but a cluster of fisher huts perched on piles in the shallow lagoons at the mouth of the Po. When the Spaniards captured Mexico, the city was then a second Venice. London has risen to its present eminence from a nucleus of rude pile dwellings. In the case of this great city, traces of these structures have been found both near London Wall and at Southwark, for the Thames was formerly a less deep but a wider river than at present, and appears to have had a pile-dwelling population established on its shallows. And there is where we are leaving W.G. Wood Martin for the moment. And I'm going to just expand a little bit on the story about Lough Neagh in present day, the wretched fish eaters, in present day Northern Ireland. Remains of Cronogues and Lough Ennel in County Westmeath, a path of rushes out to them. I'd swim out to one of them when I was young. Oh, it's very interesting, Katrina. Thank you. Molly Michelle Kopeski says, hello from Minnesota. Getting here late, but it sounds like I haven't missed too much. No, indeed you haven't, Molly. Fáilte. Druda Chuth. Talking of otherworldly cities, do you believe the 4 elemental cities of Murius, Phineas, Gorius, and Phalius are cities in Tirnanog? Also, could you do a show on these 2, unless they're going to link into this? We're definitely going to be doing some episodes on Lower Gawala, and I think if we don't cover it sufficiently, then maybe it's something we'll come back to. So do remind me when we do Lower Gawala. Martin Hughes is watching. Fáilte, Martin. Shirley Sacomano says, nice. And over on YouTube, Kujam Razalgeti says, greetings from across the pond. Razalgeti is the name of a star, isn't it? Is it in Pisces or in Aquarius or one of those? Anyway, sorry, but you're very welcome along. NB Nora from Philadelphia says, can you do a segment on Bridget? Yes, she is on the list. In fact, we may have to do more than one episode to cover Bridget, but absolutely, definitely, yes. Okay. Oh yes, Kujam says, and Kujam is a star too. I wasn't aware of that one actually. What Razalgeti? That's annoying me. I'm going to have to Google that. I'm sorry, folks. I'm getting distracted. Razalgeti is in. Oh, it's in Hercules. Alpha Hercules. Okay. I knew it was a star. I just couldn't remember which constellation. Virginia Lininger says, hi from USA, Dickinson, North Dickinson. Hello, Virginia. Fáilte. And Kujam Razalgeti says, I'm not telling. Fine. I'll have to look it up then. No problem. Popular Irish folklore has it that Lough Neagh, a 29-kilometre long and 18-kilometre wide lake in County Armagh, Northern Ireland, occupies the site of a drowned city, and that buildings may sometimes be seen through the water. This legend was recorded as early as the 12th century by Giraldus Cambrensis, or Gerald of Wales, in his Topographica Hiberniae, the topography of Ireland, where he wrote how an extremely wicked tribe was punished for their sins by the flooding of their city. And of course, that's a common theme in the flood myths as well. Even in the flood, the creation myths pertaining to the flood, that it's a punishment by a wrathful god. It is reported that this lake had its origin in an extraordinary calamity. The land now covered by the lake was inhabited from the most ancient times by a tribe sunk in vice, and more especially incorrigibly addicted to the sin of carnal intercourse with beast more than any other people of Ireland. Woeful. Shocking stuff, huh? Now, there was a common proverb in the mouths of the tribe that whenever the wellspring of that country was left uncovered, for out of reverence shown to it, from a barbarous superstition, the spring was kept covered and sealed. Does that sound familiar, folks? It would immediately overflow and inundate the whole province, drowning and destroying the whole population. It happened, however, on some occasion that a young woman who had come to the spring to draw water after filling her pitcher, but before she had closed the well, ran in great haste to her little boy, whom she had heard crying at a spot not far from the spring where she had left him. Does this sound like another version of the Bowen myth? It certainly does, minus the little boy. But the voice of the people is the voice of God, and on her way back, she met such a flood of water from the spring that it swept off her and the boy, and the inundation was so violent that they both, and the whole tribe with their cattle, were drowned in an hour in this partial and local deluge. The waters, having covered the whole surface of that fertile district, were converted into a permanent lake. A not improbable confirmation of this occurrence is found in the fact that the fishermen in that lake see distinctly under the water, in calm weather, ecclesiastical towers, which, according to the custom of the country, are slender and lofty, and moreover round. And they frequently point them out to strangers travelling through these parts, who wonder what could have caused such a catastrophe. And in Irish, they're called Clúidteach, which I think literally means bell house. But they're basically the round towers of former ages. Slán, Katrina, we'd see you later. Some argue that the structures in Lough Neagh are the real person that the North stayed part of. The real reason, that the North stayed part of Britain, as they carry some special significance. Any thoughts? No, not immediately offhand. Can't understand why that would be the case. Some special significance. No. Beyond the fables about them, I'm not sure, you know. The legend of the drowned city of Lough Neagh was also recalled in Thomas More's Irish Melodies, Let Erin Remember, in 1852. On Lough Neagh's bank as the fisherman strays, when the clear, cold eve's declining, he sees the round towers of other days in the wave beneath him shining. And I think we read that from W.G. Wood-Martin from yesterday. I am going to turn to Mythical Ireland, New Light on the Ancient Past. You might recognise the author, Misha Antone. I'm going to turn to a chapter called The Dawning of the Day. And you're going to say, what's that about? The Dawning of the Day? What possible connection could there be between that and our stories about submarine cities? Tír Fó Hoin. Michael Ray Fox says, absolutely right. Country, land underwater. There are many strange tales in the myths and folklore of Ireland. One, several variants of which can be found in different localities, concerns the idea of a city or village beneath a lake or the sea. Sometimes, as in the legend of the mysterious island of High Brazil, the underwater realm becomes visible once every 7 years. An extraordinary deluge tale was once recounted in the folklore of a fishing village called Blackrock, na Cragagadua, on the Louth coastline near Dundalk. That's about 18 miles to the northeast of me here. This village, which mostly fronts onto Dundalk Bay, faces out across the restless waters offering its residents enchanting views of the Cooley Mountains, whose undulating peaks roll out eastwards into the Irish Sea. Blackrock's flood lore relates to a local version of a well-known song called Jailra on Lay, meaning the dawning of the day, written by James Clarence Mangan. A note appended to the song in a manuscript by transcriber Nicholas O'Carney says, "This song is founded on a tradition prevalent among the people in the vicinity that an ancient city with fine land adjoining it are seen every 7th year by the fishermen off Blackrock shore near Dundalk. The bard, remembering the legends of Gerald Irla or Garroge Irla of Garrett's Fort, previously mentioned, in Mullach Eilem and O'Neill in Ailech, considers the appearance a favourable sign for Ireland's liberation. It may have happened, time out of mind, that a city and land in this part of the island were encroached on by the sea. A great causeway, built with huge mountain stones, has been traced from Dunaney to Cooley Point, a distance of more than 7 miles across the Bay of Dundalk, and I wonder whether there is in fact any archaeological evidence of such a causeway, or has anything been detected by those submarine surveys that have been going on in the Irish Sea in the last few years, which one of the purposes of which is to find archaeological remnants of former settlements. The old people used to tell many stories of the inhabitants of the enchanted city and assert that some of their offspring still live at Blackrock. So not only do they say that there's a sunken city off the coast at Cragacadua, near Dundalk, County Louth, but they say in fact that some of the residents of the modern village of Blackrock say that they are descended from the residents of this drowned city. Here is Mangan's translation of the song, and this is Jailra on Lay, the dawning of the day. 'Twas a balmy summer morning, warm and early, such as only June bestows, everywhere the earth adorning, dews lay pearly in the lily bell and rose. Up from each green leafy bosque and hollow rose the blackbird's pleasant lay, and the soft cuckoo was sure to follow. 'Twas the dawning of the day. Through the perfumed air the golden bees flew round me, bright fish dazzled from the sea, till me dreamt some fairy olden world spell bound me. In a trance of witchery." I'm getting the rhyming. I'm getting the rhyming all wrong. Yeah, somebody asked, Teresa wants to know how deep is Loch Ness. I do not know, Teresa. Perhaps there's somebody watching who might be able to furnish us with that information. Dundalk Bay is very shallow. Just look at the place when the tide goes out. That's right, Brendan. And in fact, over time, people have got caught out because the tide, you think because the sea is very far out, you think that, the tide takes ages to come in. But because it's so shallow and so flat, the tide actually comes in really, really quickly there. Through the perfumed air, the golden bees flew round me, bright fish dazzled from the sea, till me dreamt some fairy olden world spell bound me in a trance of witchery. Steeds pranced round and on with stateliest housings, bearing riders pranked in rich array, like flushed revellers after wine carousings. 'Twas the dawning of the day. Then a strain of song was chanted, and the lightly floating sea nymphs drew anear. Then again the shore seemed haunted by hosts brightly clad and wielding shield and spear. Then came battle shouts and onward rushing, swords and chariots and a phantom fray. Then all vanished, the warm skies were blushing in the dawning of the day. Cities girt with glorious gardens, whose immortal habitants in robes of light stood methought as angel wardens nigh each portal now arose to daze my sight. Eden spread around, revived and blooming, when lo, as I gazed, all passed away. I saw but black rocks looming in the dim, chill dawn of day. Reflecting upon the meaning of the drowned cities, one is tempted into a number of avenues of exploration. Because of the apparent proliferation in Ireland of myths pertaining to towns and cities lost beneath some sea or lake, One is drawn to wonder whether the myths are, at least in part, ancient memories of antediluvian civilization, and perhaps of a deluge that caused this old civilization to suffer a watery calamity. Now, this is a quote, and I just want to check what the reference is so that I can tell you what the quote is from, because I can't remember offhand. Chapter 6.4, note number 3. Give me 1 second. 6.4. Note number 3, O'Sheachan. Oh, yes, that's Ireland, A Journey into Lost Time. I spoke about that in the first Live Myths tour of my library, a fabulous book. The legends of the lost cities, related in all cases to lands lost under the waters of the seas and oceans, even lakes, prevail in all countries in the East and in the West. And they have all the same central core of similarity, suggesting the same factual origin, though separate and independent. In all these cases, the peoples of these legendary accounts claim descent from the former inhabitants of sea-lost lands. This is most true, of course, amongst people who live on lands abutting seas and oceans, both in Europe and the Americas. And that's the end of the quote from P.A. O'Sheachan, Ireland, A Journey into Lost Time, a fabulous poetic book. Another possibility presents itself in the reading of the words of Mangan's song. The immortal inhabitants of light could well be the Tuatha De Danann, this is me writing, waiting in that invisible realm between the green hills, or, in this case, the waves of the sea, for their long-awaited return to this world. The political background of the 19th century, when the song was written, might well have been an influence in the belief that the appearance of the submarine city was a favourable sign for Ireland's liberation. Of course, such tales might also have been the product of the imagination of the downtrodden, stories that stem from imperial oppression and the desire to be free once more. It is in this light that we can certainly view some of these narratives, which were no doubt woven during the long period of occupation by Britain. Metaphorically, the Song of Black Rock and similar traditions are fascinating. Should we also consider these things from a psychological standpoint? It was while reflecting upon the themes of water and other worlds that the possibility of such an interpretation came to light, and I wrote the following. Alex Casterton says, I'm back! My account is now out of Facebook jail. This is great stuff, Anthony. Glad you're enjoying it. We as children always heard Cuchulainn sat on Trumpet's Hill looking across Dundalk Bay, watching Maeve's army approach across the bay. That's very interesting, Patricia. Maybe on these slabs steps, as I don't remember ever seeing anything about the sea going that far out. Very interesting, yeah. Could that be another sort of remembrance of the possible existence of this causeway, as one might call it? Yeah. Kristen Murray Andre says, Google says Lough Neagh is 82 feet deep. Jack Durkin says 25 metres, which I suppose is the same thing translated into new money. Dundalk Bay is very... Oh, yeah, that's Brendan. Thanks, Brendan. Anyway, this is something that I wrote in relation to water and all that. And remember that Jung said water was the universal symbol of the unconscious. Claire Bear says, hello from Ottawa. Fáilte, Claire. Tranonawa. Someday, I would like to try to sail down the Boyne, all the way from Carberry Well to Inverculpa. I know it's likely not possible, but I'd like to do it anyway. And I think that, in the doing of it, in the navigating of the puny Boyne, the restless Boyne, the mighty Boyne, I might have relived a drama encompassing the journey of life, not a linear life flowing from beginning to end, but rather a cyclical life, one with no beginning and no end, just a constant flow from one form to the next. And I wonder, merely by contemplating the journey of the eternal river, if perhaps I might enter eternity myself on the strength of a thought. Before you were born, I knew you. Before you were the well of Segish, you were a million raindrops. Before your ejaculation on the slopes of Shinekton, you had been glorified on the slopes of Mount Fiji, and on Kilimanjaro you had been a spring of Nemiety. On the Matterhorn you had been a darkling brook, and at Elborus a frozen fountainhead. Segish, the beginning and the end. Segish, the Alpha and the Omega. Bless me with your sanctifying waters, so that I might spring forth a river, a mighty body of water whose end cannot be known. Cry me a river. not a river of sighs or of broody reflection. Become Boyne and give birth to a multitude of almighties, so that not one god but 1,000 can become deified in your pools of crystal absolution. And there on your shores John the Baptist and Finnegas the Wise will immerse the poor in spirit, so that they may have their eyes washed clean, and that they may see with perfect vision the Cloydchach beneath the waves, the obscure belfry below, the one that chimes mysteriously from the bottom of the lake, or from the brooding sea in the evening, is not a stony bell tower left standing from the time of Atlantis' destruction. Rather, it is that mystical something that must be awakened within you, that pealing of the bells that calls you to your ancient self, the you that was alive before the first of the ancient palaces was built, the you that is potent in the very matter of the universe. Come down and ring the bells with the monks of the submarine domain, that realm that lies beneath the darkness of your unconscious, and there make music that will echo in the very caverns of the She. Go down and be a bell ringer for the awakening of a multitude. Call the world to enlightenment with a chorus of sound and voice from the deep, and bring the unrestrained joy of that chthonic music to every ear and heart and soul. And that is from chapter 6.4 of Mythical Ireland, and that's called The Dawning of the Day, Jailra Onlay. And just before we finish for tonight, there's one other little snippet of information that I found a good time ago while researching a book that has never been written, but pertaining to the inundation of lands, which I may get back to in the future. And I found it in the Ordnance Survey letters. These are the letters from John O'Donovan as he made his way around Ireland, trying to find out the meanings of the names of places all over. Now, I was very interested, because I didn't know this at the time. I was very interested in learning a little bit of information about a townland in my hometown of Drogheda. I was telling you, was it last night or the night before, I was telling you I live in a townland in Drogheda called Rathmullen, which Katrina tells us means Rathmoylan, so Moylan's Rath or Moylan's Ringfort. There's a townland on the north side of the River Boyne in Drogheda called Moneymore, and there's actually a housing estate called Moneymore. But I was very enthralled to uncover this piece of information in the Ordnance Survey letters, because it pertains to what we've just been talking about. Moneymore, a townland in the parish of St. Peter, formerly called Baile on Lochain, the town of the small lake. There is a tradition that it was thus named because before Noah's flood, a town or village, Baile, is said to have been swallowed by an earthquake. There is a very large bog in it, part of which remains still, the rest is under cultivation, from which it took the name of Moneymore, which basically means the big bog. Money, M-O-N-A-I-G-H, and M-O-R for big, pronounced by the people Manimore. And that's basically it, that tiny snippet of information I was thoroughly fascinated by, because it turned out that an old name for Moneymore, the area called Moneymore, it was Baile an Lochain, the town of the small lake, and that there was a belief that there's a city that was once there that was destroyed by an earthquake and is under the marsh or the bog now. Fantastic stuff, really fantastic. And Paul from the Hill of Tara is in the house, says, good evening all, was out with Banshee. Well, fair enough. I think YouTube has crashed. And Sarah Clare on YouTube says, lovely reading, Anthony. I'm not sure, Henry. But anyway, look, it doesn't really matter at this stage, because we kind of are reaching the end of tonight's episode. I have a feeling this is something that we can return to. I mean, I would love to read from Ossiachon, actually. Ireland, A Journey into Lost Time. I think you'll enjoy it. He's got that sort of poetic approach to the mythology and the archaeology. in the way that he writes, which inspires me, because that's, I like to go beyond the rational and the empirical, and to go deeper into the soul and the humanity of the exploration of the situations, and the poetry and the spirituality and the mysticism of it all. Henry Scullion says, with all these paranormal channels being so popular and investigators going to famous battle sites all over the world, Gettysburg, Bodmin, Noir, etc., which are reportedly very haunted, I'm very surprised there's never been any reports of ghosts haunting the site of the Battle of the Boyne. It's an interesting one, Henry. I'll tell you one thing about the site of the Battle of the Boyne. Nobody lives on it. There are no modern... Okay, there's a few. There might be 2 or 3 houses, but there are very, very, very few people living. I mean, most of the Battle of the Boyne site was part of an estate, Old Bridge House, which in the past couple of decades was bought by the government and the house restored and the lands opened as a giant public park. But it's an interesting one. It is an interesting one. Well, what about Moytura? And what about the great battles of the Táin and the locations of the Táin? Maybe we should expect to find hauntings in such locations as well. Maeve Fina Callahan says, yes, Anthony, that's why we love your videos. Thanks, Maeve. I encountered some interesting things at Culloden, says Rowan Grove. Interesting indeed. Is that the site of the castle or the hotel? Is it? Is that near Belfast or is that somewhere else? Incredible how memories can be passed down through the ages, says Aaron Durrett. Yeah, absolutely. That is very powerful, very powerful. In my writings and in my books and in some of my videos, I have asserted that some of our myths go all the way back to the Neolithic, and some of them perhaps even further back than that. Henry says, I tried to post there, but it's frozen, so I'll try here, but it could be my connection. I think it's okay, because there are still comments coming in on YouTube. So thanks, Henry. Hopefully you'll get sorted out. Rowan Grove says, just ordered a copy of Ireland, A Journey into Lost Time. I hope that you appreciate it as much as I have appreciated. Chthonic Music, says Monique Peterson. Again, nice. Maeve Fina Callahan, this is fantastic. I'm so excited to read the whole book. Brilliant stuff. Okay. Yes, anybody inquiring about High Brazil, that's the island that we spoke about in yesterday's episode. That's episode 37, which you can catch up on the YouTube channel, on the Facebook page, and also on the Mythical Ireland blog at mythicalireland.com. Let me see if there's anyone saying anything on YouTube. Sarah Clare says, lovely reading, Anthony. Thanks, Sarah. You're very welcome. The Starman, Kujam Razalgeti, Moulin is a glacier pit in rock, also a mill. Astro Gypsy, just in time for lights out. The price for working nights and weekends, but hey, I'm working, have to catch it on replay. Yeah, I know, and I'm still working. I work during the day, and I feel very privileged and lucky to be in that position, so I don't complain about it. This morning, which was Saturday, I got up and I wrote 1,200 words of my new book. So I'm trying to, even though I'm doing less activities, I'm involved in music, and I'm not doing as much photography now because I don't get out to the monuments. I'm still very, very busy, and I think it's a good complaint. And look, yes, Astro Gypsy, exactly. You can catch up on the video. At least it's not a one-off thing, and if you don't catch it on the live, it's gone. The videos are there now, and they're available for people to watch. Irish Technical Thinker, watching from Belfast, Ireland. And good evening to you. I cannot remember your name. I sincerely apologize for that, but it's good to see you. Sarah Clare, it's believed that there wasn't a physical battle at the Boyne, but a Horus ritual. Land of the Pharaohs has the information. That's by, what's his name, Andrew Power. I don't accept that, Sarah. I met Andrew once, and I'm familiar with his book. I read it a long time ago. I don't accept that it was a purely ritualistic thing. I think there was a battle, and the best evidence of that are the many lead, they're not bullets, lead shot that were found on the battlefield. No, I think the battle definitely happened, but was there a ritualistic aspect to it? Who knows? Who knows? Desiree Riley says, lovely, I can't wait to get my copy of Mythical Ireland. Desiree, I think your copy went out in the post on Friday, Thursday or Friday, and was that yesterday? So hopefully that will arrive with you sooner rather than later. Folks, anybody looking for copies of my books, I have loads of copies of Dronehenge. I have loads of copies of The Cry of the Sebok. What I don't have are any more copies of Mythical Ireland at the moment. The last 2 are going out in Monday's post. The reason for that is because the distributor's warehouse is closed and I'm unable to get any more copies. For the moment, unfortunately, I cannot send out. So if anybody is thinking of ordering, just hold fast on the Mythical Ireland one, and perhaps Dronehenge is the one to go for in the meantime. Dave Russell says, love your typewriter, by the way, Anthony. I would like to give a special plug to Colm Nolan in County Kilkenny, who is on Instagram as The Magic Typer, who sold me that typewriter early in the new year. And it is a fab. Oh, sure. Will I take it out? Will I? I'll take it out. Michael Kenny is watching. Patricia Langton is watching. Hi, Patricia, my Rockabill buddy. Average depth of Loch Nane, 9 meters, 27 feet. Cannot find deepest point. So my typewriter was beautifully and lovingly restored by Colm Nolan, The Magic Typer. In fact, if I can get the link up here, instagram.com, if I / the magic, can I do it that way? The Magic Typer, I'll put it in here as he is brilliant. A wonderful craftsman. And I love that. I love that somebody has the diligence and the skill to bring these wonderful antiques, these wonderful old machines back to life. I mean, you mightn't think I'm old enough, but I learned to type on a typewriter. A mechanical typewriter. It was my father's typewriter. And my father, who's 76, Paul Murphy, lives in Onuav, County Meath. He is still working as a journalist at the age of 76 and is a great inspiration to me and to my writing. But here is my Olympia SM4. I think it's from 1952. And as I say, beautifully restored by The Magic Typer Instagram. So I've shared that link on YouTube and on Facebook. I'm not sure. He possibly can still post a package and post off typewriter, certainly around Ireland. Send him a message if you're interested in getting your hands on an old typewriter, and he'll give you a price and he'll talk to you about what you're looking for and what you're going to use it for. And he spent a lot of time with me figuring out my needs and a lot of time talking to me about the process. And he was fabulous. He was really, really brilliant. And it is a really beautiful piece of work, you know. So, yeah, I am writing my new book. I'm writing my new book on a mechanical typewriter. And of course, some people have said to me, that's a bit odd. Why would you do that when you have a computer in front of you? And one of the reasons I'm doing it, I wrote Return to Segish, which hasn't been published yet, but I believe to be one of probably my best piece of writing, my best piece of poetic and transcendent and mystical writing to date, absolutely, without question. I hand wrote that. And I just loved the process of slowing down, because I can type very fast on a computer keyboard, you know. But I loved the process of slowing down and writing and leaving a trail and leaving a physical remnant of your writing, not just a series of zeros and ones that are going through a circuit board on a computer and appearing on a monitor, you know, and you print it out to get a printout. But where is the actual physical indentation? There isn't one. With typed sheets, there is a physical indentation left behind, you know, and it's that, plus there's a bit of nostalgia, of course. So there's George William Russell's poem. That's one of the first things I typed on it when I got it. No sign is made while empires pass. The flowers and stars are still his care. The constellations hid in grass, the golden miracles in air. And the last stanza, of which I absolutely love. Though the crushed jewels droop and fade, the artist's labours will not cease. And from the ruins shall be made some yet more lovely masterpiece. And I think that applies very nicely to the 1952 Olympia SM4 typewriter, which has been beautifully restored by Colum, the magic typer in County Kilkenny. And so, yeah, there's something just really purposeful and lovely about typing on a typewriter. So every time I finish typing a page, I take a photograph of my phone. So all my photos are backed up to the cloud. So that's a backup of it on the phone and in the cloud. I also scan it with OCR, an OCR app that reads the text. I send that text to myself and I paste it into a Microsoft Word document. So I have numerous backups, but I have the physical remnant. Now, I'm not going to show you the typescript of the new book because I don't, at this moment in time, I don't want to give it away. But I did say on my live video earlier on that it is about astronomy. It is about the stars and the heavens. But it's like no astronomy book that I know of, in that it is more about our soulful journey with the stars and the effect that the stars have upon us, and the effect that, of course, they've had on me since I was about 6 years old. I've been an astronomer all my life, but not always in the scientific sense, and not always in the, magnitude measuring and distance quantifying aspect, wondering about deeper things and staring out into a vast ocean of stars and wondering about the possibilities of life elsewhere in the universe, and how that it has affected me over the years and always does. Watching the twilight, and of course in recent years I've watched many twilights at Brunabonia and at sacred sites like the Hill of Slane and Tara and Douth and Newgrange and all sorts of places, Monaster Boyce, Mellifont Abbey, and places that are special, and watched the stars one by one appearing, so hopefully in a few months' time, I'll have a completed typescript and I'll have a proposal, or I'll have a book deal, hopefully from my publisher, if not from another publisher. And hopefully we'll be able to publish it, and hopefully everything will be back to normal by then. Anyway, that's it. No more questions or comments about tonight's. I don't think. Old school typewriting, cool. Yeah, absolutely. Were you inspired by H.A. Ray, book on constellations? No, I'm not familiar with that one, Yvette. You would have been happy navigating by the stars. Absolutely, Brendan. The stars, I was never uncomfortable with the night, put it that way. Friends always remarked over the course of the years that whenever I leave somebody's house, the very first thing I always do at nighttime is I look up. And I scan the sky to see, first of all, if it's cloudy, and if it's not cloudy, to see what I can see, And friends of mine have commented on this, always thought this was odd behavior. And I always thought it was extremely normal and natural, because I believe that there was a time not too long ago, only a few generations ago, before electrification and before our big, huge modern homes and all the rest, that, we lived under the stars, and it was a very, very natural thing to do. Tara, my daughter is called Jude Tara. I wear Tibetan white Tara. That's Claire Bear. Hi, Claire. Susan Bain Williams. Hi, Joe. Vicky Wallace Southall says thank you. I am going to leave it at that. Henry Scullion, I enjoyed that, but I have to go. Stay safe, and thank you very much. Sláinte, Henry. Slán go fóill. Hopefully we'll see you tomorrow night. And Michael Ray Fox says, yeah, brilliant strategy to copy all. So I have the physical remnant, but I also have several digital copies, which is brilliant, Is there a script? Writing of the she looks like symbols. No, the first writing in Ireland was Ogham, which was basically a very simple form. And I think it was based on Latin, actually. But it was the monks that introduced the writing of Irish in manuscripts. Before that, we don't really have anything. But of course, we do have the symbols on the stones, which are 5,000 years old. And they're not a language per se, but they could be a symbolic language. Pat Rowan says, I called him the Bard of Drogheda a time or two. Good man, Pat. Pint of the stout. I think mine's going to be a Jemson, but the Jemson's nearly gone, and I just between us, Pat, you and me, no one else, right? Strictly between us. I bought a bottle of Bushmills this evening. So when I'm finished the Jemmy, I'll have a Bushmills. Craftsmanship at work, love it. make you think about what you're doing. Leave your mark, literally, says Dave Russell. Yeah, that's exactly it, because it's just too easy to plow out words onto a screen using a keyboard. And I just felt the whole action of the typewriter was much more deliberate, you know. And there's just something about it. There's a closer relationship between you and your words with a typewriter. That's what I think, anyway. Maybe I'm talking through my hat. But anyway, there you go. Stay safe, everyone. Keep washing your hands. Remember social distancing, but remember, don't socially isolate. Don't be alone. And certainly don't be alone. If you've got broadband and you've got Facebook or YouTube, please call in to Live Irish Myths, also known as MythFlix, in the evening times. Usually at 8 p.m, except for on Fridays when we do an hour earlier. Hopefully we'll see you again tomorrow evening, where we will be doing episode 39. I don't know what the subject matter will be yet, but I usually announce the episode sometime in the middle of the day, around noon, or maybe 1 or 2 p.m. in the afternoon. So hopefully we'll see you again tomorrow evening. Sláinte, Sonas Orov, Kolosov. Have a sound sleep, and we'll see you tomorrow night. Slán Agiv. Thanks again, Anthony. Stay safe, everyone, says Doris. Good night. Melonello says thank you and see you tomorrow. See you all tomorrow, folks. Night. Slán. And that also to YouTubers. Slán Gafol.